Hey, good Friday morning, YouTube. Hugmeister's Garage and Workshop. Working on our next project. What I did is I ordered a small 2,500 pound winch from Vevor. And we're going to mount it on our little trailer here. I'm going to have to cut out a piece of that. I'm going to set it on 2 pieces of 1.5 inch strut across here. And it's got like a 39.5 foot rope on it. I got the one with a synthetic rope, but hopefully we can get something rigged up here. Got a couple pieces of strut in here. I just put a coat of paint on them, but I'm still waiting for stuff to show up. But dug some bolts out, so when stuff shows up, we'll get to rolling. Alright, since we're waiting for some stuff, I decided to take this, my toolbox off the front. We'll repaint that to match that. And I think when I lay those Kindorfs across here, I'm probably going to hook them both into this beam. So this main beam is going to be help to support the pull against that. So we also ordered a new cord for this. I'm going to put a 7-pin in there and put a J box on there. So since we got her over here, we're going to dial the old girl up a little bit, grease the bearings, all that good stuff. So we'll be back. Well, it's Saturday. We got our toolbox sprayed yesterday with a little 4X ruby red. Jazzed her up a little bit with the Patriot Edition. Got the Hugmeister decal, but that last paint job lasted quite a while, so I put like 4 or 5 coats on this. So we're still waiting for parts, but that's what we got going so far. Well, while we're waiting for Amazon to show up, which they said 11 o'clock, they lied again, but we come up with the final plan for mounting this. Instead of through bolting this all the way through with long bolts, what I'm going to use is some blind nuts on this part, because the weight will be supported by the strut itself. These will just act like place keepers. That way I don't got to go all the way through the frame on this, which I really didn't want to. And I just used these the other day. It's the first time I used them for mounting that toolbox. They're like I don't know if they're called a blind nut, or you put that special tool I got that crimps them in tight, and that's what we're going to use. But we're going to use those for place keepers there, because what's going to hold the main force of this, because it's going to be going that way, this is going to be bolted to this main beam. It's going to be bolted to the C channel, and then these are going to have some beefy bolts through them, so that's going to keep the pull strength. The pull strength is going to be going laterally like that. So once that shows up, we're going to put it as close as we can to here to see if we can get that fair lead close to the cutout. So it'll be should be a nice install when we get her done, if we ever get the parts. We're back. Monday morning. We had some stuff show up late yesterday. Our little winch showed up from Vevor. Looks like it came with the mounting plate, the hook, the little fair lead, and the control on it. And our trailer J-box and new cord showed up. So our looks like our project's going to be able to move forward. So we'll get out there and we'll start putting things together. Okay, this is kind of the gist of what we're aiming for. I'm going to have to take probably a big hole saw and just saw a hole in there so this won't rub. Just get it centered up. And in a perfect world, I would have had a big piece of, sheet steel I could have put across there and, bolted it through. But around here we use what we got, and we just want it to be functional, so we used what we had laying out back. But we got the rest of this bolted into that frame under there, and it's bolted to the frame here. So this should work fine. Now I just got to get the spring nuts mounted, and we'll continue on to the wiring part of it. Now these are those little nut inserts I was telling you about, and that looks like one. I haven't crimped it yet, but it goes on this little tool here, and you squeeze it together, and it compresses that up into, and it seals it into the hole. So like I said, on the ends, the weight is going to be carried by the beam, not the screw. This just keeps it from going side to side. So we're going to use these 1/4-20 stainless and fenders to hold this in place, and then we'll get the next one mounted. All right, I think she's looking pretty good. This 1/2-inch bolt through the lower, 1/2-inch bolt through the lower, 1/4-20s for stabilizing the ends, 1/2-inch bolt through the frame hole, and a 1/2-inch bolt through that hole. So this isn't going anywhere. And people, this is just a 2,500 pound for pulling little lawnmowers and stuff up. So I don't think this sucker's going anywhere. So now we got to figure how we're going to simplify the wiring on this, so we can hook it on and off the truck real quick and not have a bunch of wires coiled up outside. Okay, we got this thing jury rigged here to an old Harbor Freight battery, and we took our 3-inch hole saw, just cut it out, and I put like 3 or 4 layers of Gorilla Tape over that hole, just to, so it covers the sharp edges up. But this, if you got this thing anywhere near straight, it's not even going to hit that. So let's see what happens here. My God, look at the pulling power of that thing. The real test is going to be like an old lawnmower or something, but maybe we'll try winching the 4-wheeler up. But we'll see what this thing can do after we get the final wiring done. What I don't like is that the hot and the ground go to this controller. Of course, you know, I paid $60 total for this with a coupon, so sometimes you go too cheap, that's what you get. But I want to hook this up to a Anderson connector that's going to plug in the back of my truck, but I think we'll be fine. And I'll probably just end up putting a slot, or taking those wires through one of those knockouts, so I can just keep this inside, and that would still give me enough slack to stand off to the side when I'm using this, and it'll keep this out of the weather. So we'll be back. Okay, stop the presses. We're going to change this up a little bit. Since we're putting this new 7-pin trailer cord on here, and I've got an extra Harbor Freight battery. I think it's quite a few years old, but it still works. We're going to rig this up so this charges this battery right off the truck, and it'll run this, and I can leave it in there, so I don't got to mess with the cable that I put in the back of the truck. But if I need to, I can plug that Anderson connector with the jumper cables in the back of the truck and put it on this battery and use it that way. So we'll have a couple different ways of using this. If somebody borrows this that don't have the Anderson connector thing, they would still be able to use it. But as a rule, my trailers don't leave my property unless they're hooked to my truck. That's how we keep them looking like they do. So we're going to reconnoiter here, and we'll get this thing up and going. Okay, we're getting close to a finished product now. There's our new trailer box, and what I did is I brought a piece of tray cable, 14-2, up here with a fuse that goes into our battery, and that is going to run off the auxiliary circuit on the truck, so that will charge that battery while it's plugged in. I don't know if you guys ever use one of these, but these are nice, man. You just mount the thing and then you just mount your trailer wires on there. Say that 4-wire I had was shot, so we upgraded. Glad I did. Then I had that auxiliary circuit available. But we put a bracket in here for our battery. Once again, went to our Subway straps over in the barn. I got 100 of those left. I use them for everything. And we've got some padding against the wall here. Went ahead and shortened the black and the red up and put some wire loom on this controller, so they're not just all hanging loose on there. But this is basically what we're going to have. So we're going to get close to a real world test here pretty soon. I'm going to go get the truck over there, back it up, hook it up, take some amp readings, DC amp readings on this, see if we got charge going in, and then maybe we'll try pulling the Kubota up on here, see what kind of guts this thing has. So we'll be back. All right, we got old Big Blue over here. We're backed up, hooked up, and truck started, and we are getting a solid 14.5 volts off the charging vehicle. So I pulled this ahead. So next I'm going to bring my Kubota behind here and see if it'll winch this thing up. All right, here we go. My chip guy just left over there, brought me some free wood chips. But here's the test conditions. We're going to try this with and without the truck running. This trailer is going slightly downhill. That Kubota weighs 2,000 pounds, and I got the parking brake just barely on, and we'll see if she'll pull it on without the truck running, or if it'll snap and I'll cry like a little bitch. Here we go. Coming up. Okay, I'm gonna turn the truck on now and see if we do any better. Say, to be fair, that's quite a load for that little guy, but let's see if we put some higher voltage through it, if this will sound any different. Here we go. Okay, should try this. I wish this cord was a little longer. I don't like the sound that things make it. Oh, here we go. Let that boost up a little bit. So that's probably not the best battery either. See if we can get it the rest of the way up here. Well, the Eagle has landed. That's asking quite a bit out of that, I would think. But it pulled 2 ton up on there, and it's slightly downhill, but not much, you could see. So I would say that anything with a, you know, like a small lawnmower or something small, this thing really isn't going to have a problem at all. And with this, if I had a full-size battery on there, I wonder what it would do. But as long as the truck is running and we're putting voltage in that and we're using it, I see no reason why that shouldn't work for what I'm going to use it for. So we're going to call this one a win. So have a good one, YouTube, and thanks for watching.